just so you're aware that there'll be a public video there. But if you see anything you don't want put on, just let me know, and I'll edit the thing out. Okay. Right, just make sure the technology is working. The technology is working okay. Yep. All right. So get everything else in place here. Nearly there. Okay. So right. It'll be there. So welcome to How to Help Others Transmute Their Karma into the Gifts of Service. I'm Nicolas David Ngan of the Centre for Conscious Ascension, and the purpose of sharing this work is to help others align to their soul purpose and move forward in their lives. So what I'd like to hear from you guys, because we do this differently each time, is what brought you here and what you'd like from this. So you're welcome to speak with or without the video, or if you're feeling a little shy, which is quite normal, just send it to me in the chat. There's a chat at the bottom of a little black strip. You can just message me there and I'll read out the chats, because I will develop and mold the webinar around what you actually need. Okay, so this is more a discussion and a sharing. Okay, and you can participate as much as you want or as little as you want. Okay, there's no pressure to do anything in particular here. So
I don't mind jumping in and being first.
Okay, Amanda, be the brave one. Let me have it.
I'm Amanda Rooker from Yorktown, Virginia. I help people write books.
Yep.
And a big part of our process at the very beginning is helping them discover what they want to write their books about, their deepest struggles, challenges, and that kind of thing. And that process is really growing and helping folks. And I found your book really helpful for me personally. And so I'm kind of here to see how I might begin to think about sharing this process with clients who are working on clarifying their life story and gleaning wisdom from their life story and seeing their deepest challenges as perhaps their biggest gifts and blessings.
Okay, thank you. All right, very concise and to the point. Are you an author already, or just more on the editorial side?
Yes, I work as a ghostwriter in the health, wellness, and peak performance field. So my names are often not on the books, but I help people develop books, write book proposals, and write them too. Yeah,
because it sounds like you know what you're talking about there. Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Lavinia, what's brought you here?
I think that I would really like to understand more about the patterns of karma. You know, how to recognize certain patterns in other people, and hopefully be able to help them in some way. Just starting with friends and family mainly. Okay.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else want to share what's brought them here? You can either speak out, just switch your microphone on and talk to me, or you can just message me, or have to say anything. Or if you don't want to, you can just observe quietly. Just the more the better. It just sort of gives me a better feel for what everyone's needs are here. Everyone else? Oh, no, someone's on the chat. Cool, thank you. So this is from Maya. After reading your book, I was able to see the big picture and decipher my life path. That sounds really good, Maya. What would you like from this evening, just so I can sort of meet that need you have? You can just sort of describe that a little bit to me. That'd be great. You just type that in the chat. I'm not getting much. Oh, here we are. More clarification on how to help someone. Okay, we can do that. Anyone else want to share before I say a bit more?
Hi, my name is Jen. I am a spiritual teacher and healer, and I'm always interested in expanding my knowledge in order to help my clients.
Yeah.
And so looking for new tools and to simply expand on what I can do for people.
All right. Thank you, Jen. Anyone else? Okay. All right. We'll get underway. So I started my spiritual journey in 1987. I was born in New Zealand, and I was desperate to escape a very small country and sitting in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific. And I went traveling to Asia, and I found out about a man called Frank Alpa, who was the originator of this work when I was living in Japan. And I was given a brochure for a course called The Carousel of Growth by a friend in Japan. And I had that in my bag for about a year. And because it took that long to actually get to the course, because it only ran once a year. In 1990, in January, I walked into this hotel room in Phoenix, Arizona, and meeting room actually, and I met a whole bunch of people who I recognized, a sort of past life familiarity on this course, and I thought I was home for the first time. And the point I'm getting to is that as part of that training, I went for a soul contract reading, or a numerology of Moses reading, which it was called at the time, by Frank Alpa, who channeled this work through in the 80s. And he took a Star of David and asked me for my birth certificate name. And in that hour, he explained my entire life, which had been a complete puzzle. I'd been very lost. I knew I was searching for something really important that no one could tell me, not from school or work or university. No one seemed to know what was really going on in this reality. I thought it was pretty strange. All sorts of weird things happening, no one telling the truth, and it just didn't add up. So he took all the disparate parts of my life, and he took my birth certificate name, and he turned it into Hebrew sounds or letters, and out of those sounds come Hebrew numbers, which are inherent with it, in it. And he decoded them on the Star of David and explained everything, all the disparate parts of my life. He put them all in complete order and explained why I was here, which was to teach, to write, to reach a lot of people, which is what is now happening, nearly 30 years later. So that was a completely life-changing experience. For the first time, I had a spiritual map of my life in front of me, and actually I knew what I had to do. I knew what I had to navigate, rather than sort of bouncing around and making a lot of mistakes and a lot of stuff just not working, driving in the dark, basically. So I decided to stay on in America for another 6 weeks, because I said, well, Frank, when can I learn how to do this? He said, well, we're running the course in 6 weeks' time. So I thought, okay, I'll stay, and I attended the course, and I brought it to the United Kingdom, and have been developing it ever since, and spreading the work as much as I can here in Europe, and it's gone back to America. So I used to teach in North Carolina, but now we're on Zoom, so we don't have to fly anymore. And to share this knowledge so a lot of other people can unlock the puzzle of their life and unlock the mystery and find out, well, why are we really here? Because most people tend to get stuck in their karmic patterns, as you may have noticed, and it doesn't seem to be a way out because no one actually knows how it works. So this is the answer, really. So I'm going to share the screen now. Okay. So essentially, most people are getting pretty stuck in their karma, and they tend to, our delicate human ego tends to want to turn away from the big karmic challenges. And when we turn away, what happens then is that we stay stuck in it, because we're not actually transmuting that karma. And whatever, no matter what they do, it just can't be overcome. And the way we actually identify these karmic patterns is to actually look at what their soul contract is. Look at what's hidden in that birth certificate name. And then once you know what's in there, you can start to transmute it. For example, I was turning away from feeling unworthy to be loved, and turning away from feeling very disempowered, feeling like a victim in life. And because I turned away from it, it just got worse. I got more disempowered, felt worse about myself all the time. Life wasn't good in those days. So what I discovered was that I had to turn into and bring feeling consciousness to my pattern of feeling unworthy, and gradually peel that program out and transmute it into a feeling of being worthy to be loved. And in allowing that process to happen, in addition to turning into my feeling of being a victim, I basically felt the many layers, processed and transmuted the many layers of disempowerment to come into my power. So that now the worthiness to be loved has turned into an ability to bring deep from within my soul a lot of power and knowledge to help others overcome their karmic patterns. So that's my gift of service, to catalyze people to really open up and deliver their gifts. And this is what I've been looking for my entire life. So let's keep going here. I'm just going to get down to the next one slide. So let's talk about that a bit more. So I guess you guys have heard of the law of attraction, yeah? Yeah. So and seen the movie The Secret, maybe. But what happens with the law of attraction is that there's a program in us that's radiating out to the reality or the matrix. And that's creating our reality in each moment. And this reality is like a three-dimensional projection screen. It rearranges around the hidden patterns within us. We can't see or hear or feel. And those patterns are stored in the soul contract. They're stored in your birth certificate name. So if you understand what you're creating by the law of attraction, then you can go and do something about it and transform it to what you do want to have in life. Because we tend to get everything we want, everything in life that we don't want initially, as you might have noticed. And life tends to get a little easier when you get older, doesn't it, Lavinia, if you work on your stuff, hopefully. Yeah. So there's another law which goes with the law of attraction called the law of opposites. Okay, this is where you get everything you don't like. Because what the universe is doing is it's showing you everything you don't like, so you start to get clear what you do want. Like I decided I didn't like feeling like a victim. I didn't like being bullied on the school bus or at work, or not getting paid enough compared to other people at work because I didn't feel worthy of it. So I got clear I wanted to be worthy, I wanted to be more empowered. So that set me on the path of aligning to where I needed to go in life. So I started to move towards the place which my ego didn't want me to go. And because most people avoid it, they get stuck in life. So I actually turned into my karma to claim these gifts. Okay, and this work allows you to do that. So everyone should have this from the time they're born. So let's talk about that a bit more. So what this work, the soul contract reading work, allows you to do is to decode the secrets of the blueprint of life for spiritual seekers hidden within their birth name. And spiritual seekers are about 2 to 3% of the world's population who have come here to awaken earlier than the majority of people here on Earth, and then to help everyone else wake up. Okay, that's you guys that turned up today. Okay, I wish you wouldn't be drawn to this. So this soul contract reading, this spiritual map of life, helps them understand and overcome their karma, express more of their talents, and achieve more of their goals. And if you work on all these three, you can start to manifest your soul or life purpose, that hidden thing, as I was describing, that we all seek. It's something we can't put our finger on, but we know it's there, and we know it when someone tells us what it is. So which is why I wrote the book, Amanda, to help as many people as I could. And it's still doing pretty well on Amazon, both sides of the Atlantic, and that's 5-6 years on. My publisher's very happy with me, so chasing me around saying, Nicolas, can you please sign the contract and write the next book? So the way it works for those of you who may not be fully familiar with it, is that and for those watching on the YouTube video afterwards, is that we use the Star of David to decode someone's name. So do it very briefly here. Lavinia, would you like to be our guinea pig here? Have you had your chart done? Do you want to switch your microphone on?
I have read the book and done it myself, yeah.
Okay, is there anyone here who has not had their chart done? Because I'll give you a little brief reading now. you want to tell me on the chat. Everyone's a bit shy. It's okay. Okay, Lavinia, we'll do your chart again briefly, okay?
Okay.
Just to demonstrate that, okay? All right, so let me get up. This is the soul contract software here, which is online. So this is at soulcontractreader.com. If any of you who've got the book, this is where you get the software from. So put your name in here, Lavinia. Okay, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So what's your birth name?
That is it.
Is there any middle name?
No. That's my whole birth certificate name.
All right. We won't put your birthday in because it's a public event. So I'll just put the date here. I just want to show it briefly so people can see how this works. Okay. So. All right. Okay. So I'll just explain it very briefly. So what we've done here is that we have taken Lavinia's birth certificate name here and matched it with the equivalent Hebrew sounds or letters. Sometimes they're a bit different. And then we've extracted the inherent Hebrew numbers within this name. And then we're going to decode them on the Star of David. So on the Star of David, there's two large triangles. There's a large downward pointing triangle, which represents the physical side of life. Because each of us is a brand new personality expression in this life. We've not existed before. Our soul is eternal, has had many lifetimes with many different personalities, but Lavinia Fenton, you are brand new this lifetime. Okay, so you had to learn to walk and talk, Lavinia. You had to get conditioned responses, go to school, relationships, get established in life. Okay, and between the ages of 35 and 42, because we work with 7-year cycles, this is the 6th cycle of life, we have the spiritual awakening, or it could be earlier, or some people call it the midlife crisis, where we start to activate the upward pointing spiritual triangle. And so what happens there is that we are triggered by our soul to review our life completely. So when did you have your awakening, Lavinia, to spirituality?
I would say it was about in my late teens.
Okay, so you're an early starter, yeah?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah. So what happened? Did you start to question everything and wonder what was really going on here?
Well, absolutely, yeah. But I also started seeking teachers and knowledge that could help me. Yeah.
So what happens there is that we seek the truth of why we're here, and the conventional things like in the world, like our career or job or where we live, who we're married to, or whatever's going on, is not so important. Everything goes into focusing on what we're actually here to do. And I left a corporate job in London at 37 to do this work, which in a normal sense would be crazy. They thought I was nuts, but actually I was much happier not being in that environment and just doing my own thing, making a difference in consciousness. So it might happen at exactly that time. And so what happens here is that the spiritual triangle comes online and we search for that mission, that true purpose. And we won't stop until we get there. Not everyone gets there, but the soul gives it its best shot to get us there. So within each of these 3 aspects here, is what we have karma, physical talents, physical goals. So karma is a set of unresolved past life issues we bring in to create the negative context, all the things we don't like, so we get declared to what we do want. Talents helps overcome the karma. As it gets stronger, it helps us get to our goals in life in the physical sense. And then we have here spiritual karma, which is helped by spiritual talents. It helps us move to spiritual goals. So that's more the inner journey of accessing that deep hidden thing we're looking for. And if you consciously work on all of these, you transmute this physical karma and the spiritual karma, then you get the true gift in the physical part of your chart and the true spiritual gift. This is opening to higher consciousness. And if you consciously work on all the 6 outer aspects here, what happens is you start to manifest layer by layer your soul destiny, or soul purpose, life purpose, the very thing we've been looking for our entire lives. It's not presented in like some big biblical slab that arrives one day. It's more like it's gradually presented to you layer by layer as you emotionally and mentally become clearer and stronger so you can cope. I was the shyest child in the world. I couldn't stand up and talk at school or do anything. Couldn't call a girl on the phone when I was a teenager. It was almost impossible. And now I won't shut up. And I write books and do lots of talks and webinars, and I love talking. My ex-wife says, "You've got more words than a woman, Nicolas," in terms of word allocation per day. That's what she says to me. So I become the opposite of what I initially came in with. And so what we do here to find out, well, what do these mean, is that we actually take these numbers here and we allocate them in a clockwise spiral going around the chart. All right. And then what we do is say here we add them up. 6 plus 5 is 11. So we have 11 here. Then we reduce this by going 1 plus 1 equals 2, which goes here. So we have a pure 11 and a pure 2 here. And each of these has a meaning from channel interpretations from the soul of Moses who came through Frank Alper over a period of 9 months to download all this information. Because Hebrew is one of the sacred languages of Great Spirit, and it comes out of the movement of Great Spirit in the creation of this universe. And so each of these is basically the sound of God, really, or source, whatever you want to call it. And in the case of, say, physical karma, the total is 27 here. 2 plus 7 equals 9. And 9 plus nothing gives another 9, so we get a double number. And there's a specific frequency for you, Lavinia, and 9's only for you to work through. And there's a greater range of frequencies within 11 and 2. So any given day, you're somewhere on this continuum between an 11 and a 2, a blend of them. Okay? So we work out all the numbers accordingly. We place the physical numbers on the top half of this table, and the spiritual numbers on the bottom half. Then we add them up to get the 65 and the 38, which produces an 11. 6 plus 5 is 11, 3 plus 8 is 11, but we're looking for the smallest number here. 1 plus 1 is 2. We pop that in the middle of the star. So that's the purpose of your life here. Okay, so I should start with that. So Lavinia, the purpose of your life is to take lots of information with the 11, all these ideas and concepts, and discern what's true for you and build your own unique structure of truth. Okay, and then throw away the stuff that doesn't resonate with you. Does that sound right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the 2 here is to learn to be emotionally resilient, to support others in the sharing of that information. That's why you come. That's the purpose of this life. It's quite simple in the end, isn't it?
I guess so.
Maybe not. So, and the journey for you in the physical part of the chart is to overcome great disempowerment. Does that sound familiar? To come into your power? Both. So briefly, what happened there, if you want to share that?
I guess my early life was pretty disrupted. I had parents that went in other directions.
Yeah.
I was very much on my own a lot of the time. I also was bullied at school, seemed to be singled out as I just didn't fit in at all.
Yeah.
My relationships on a romantic level they've just never happened. They've never blossomed, never happened.
Yeah.
So my life has been very work focused.
Yeah.
But then again, I've never sort of been that successful.
Okay. Okay. So the purpose of the disempowerment is for you to come fully into your power. So how are you doing on that in terms of claiming your power back?
I think I'm a lot more emotionally stable now.
Yeah.
So I'm stronger emotionally.
Yeah.
But I think I still have a way to go, and
Okay.
I feel that I need guidance.
Okay. So coming into your power is the key thing for you, and this is about working with all your deepest, darkest shadow patterns that emerge, and bringing consciousness to them and transmuting them into layer by layer into positive power to catalyze change. Because you said you were a healer, I think, didn't you? To catalyze change in others.
No, I don't. Well, I'm unconsciously heal, but I'm not a healer.
Yeah. What do you normally do?
I'm a full-time carer.
Okay. Okay. So so what sort of people are you working with? So you may be catalyzing the clients, people you're working with here.
I'm a home carer.
Yeah.
So I'm looking after my mum with cancer and dementia.
Okay. Okay. So the talent you have is an 11-2, which is designed to give support and emotional support and structure to others here. And this 5 here is all about speaking the truth, bringing cutting edge truth into the world. So how are you on doing that in terms of speaking the truth?
I think I always hold back.
Yeah, this is about
Slightly.
Go on. Okay, so this is about overcoming the holding back that comes from past life persecution for speaking the truth.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you clear the past life stuff, then it'll be easier to speak it. And the 6s here are about are you very creative, Lavinia?
Yes.
Yes. Are you very artistic?
Yes.
Yes, this is about getting your creativity out in the world. And the goal here spiritually is about taking high-level spiritual concepts and bringing them down to the earth plane and making them accessible in a heart-centered way in plain English. Does that resonate?
Yep, it does.
Yeah. So actually you're really here the reason you're drawn to this work is because you seek the structure of absolute truth of how life works. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Yeah. And you're here to really work with groups of people. You're here to work with groups to share that sort of truth. That's actually why you're really here. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you're here to build networks like this. Go on, keep talking.
I've always thought that I should be teaching something, but I've never been sure what.
Well, you're here to teach people the absolute truth and structure of how their life works. Okay, that's why you're here. And this is a classic pattern. Most people drawn to this work have the 11, 2, and the 5. Totally want absolute truth, and they want the structure of how it all works. They want everything. And we'll keep going until they find it. Sounds like you may have that as well, Amanda. So, okay. The majority of soul contract practitioners have this pattern, I've discovered. So, how does that sound, Lavinia? That's your life in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So, that's a taster of how that works. So, how can you use this work as a ghostwriter, therapist, counsellor, coach, consultant with your clients? All right. So basically, you'll get an immediate snapshot of the spiritual map of someone's life. Like, I haven't met you before, Lavinia, but I probably know more about you than your mum does just by looking at that chart. Okay. And so this is really good for working with people. Even if they're in a workshop with you or they're in one-on-one clients, it gives you an immediate and profound understanding of their issues, so you know where your clients are coming from. So there are no surprises. So when something comes up, you can look at their chart and say, that's what's driving it. So therefore, it's easy to support them and guide them. So they don't waste time doing things which aren't going to work, and to address in a very focused way what their issues are that you come up. So it's very accurate for very good guidance for working with your clients. It builds immediate trust, because when people hear the truth of their life, what it does is it dismantles the ego's defense mechanisms. And they just go, okay, Amanda, I surrender. Okay, let's get down to business. It saves you a lot of messing around. So you get faster results. Like, for example, for you, Amanda, for your authors or people you're working with, if you can find out what their true path is, then it's much easier to align the way the content and the structure and the focus of the work they do with you. Because if you do that, if it's in alignment with where their soul wants to go, it'll work. It'll be successful. But if it's something the mind thinks it should do, it's not in alignment, it doesn't work quite so well, which you may have discovered. Because it sounds like you have a bit of an editorial role. You've actually got to focus your people a lot of the time to get to the right thing. Okay. So, I did that with one of my editors. She's actually an author as well, and I helped her get focused on what she was really meant to do with her writing. Okay, so it goes the other way with the publisher. So with the soul contract reading work, with this training is it's not me talking about a whole bunch of interpretations and you trying to remember a lot of stuff. The book that some of you or all of you have read is based upon the training. But what happens in the training is that I give you a visceral bodily transmission and activation of the work. So you sit in the field for 5 days of the work. In the first 3 days, we basically transmit the meaning of the 22 numbers. We do that by giving readings on your friends and family. So we have the charts up, and we do this on Zoom, and we talk about your mum, Lavinia, or one of your clients, Amanda, and then we relate what's in their chart with your subjective, real-world experience of it. And we link that, match that up with what's actually in the interpretation. So we don't go and read them all out. We talk about them. But that transmission of that real-life person, you talking about it, me talking about it, activates that energy of those numbers in your fields. So you start to become the work. That's the way this works. You're not just learning it, you become it through transmission. Because bodily transmission is the most powerful way to learn here. So once you start to become this, you'll understand yourself very deeply. It'll go much deeper than your understanding of the book. You can do a lot with a book, but this is really entering completely into the transmission of the energy, and you understand everyone else in your life once you have activated that transmission in you. And you'll learn how to prepare and give these readings. And you'll open to your channel an intuitive flow, because you have a team, you have a guidance team who guides you when you do this work. So you're like the embodied avatar, which is transmitting to somebody, your client or whoever it is, what they need to hear in that moment, the truth, so they can take the next step in their life. So it's like we train you to awaken others. Essentially, that's what we're doing here. Okay, so this is far beyond your average sort of divination reading here. I think I pretty much said this here, but essentially we are activating the past life memory of how to do this in your DNA. And what happens is the energy of this stuff starts to form. Every person you work with, their energy forms like a database in your fields. And after a while, when you work with enough people, you have a whole database of how these numbers work, how the meaning works. And when you come across someone else, you can literally connect to that and feel what's going on for that person. All right. It will get to the point with this work where you actually don't need the manual to actually connect with what's going on, because you've become it. That's what happens after. There's 3 levels of it. After the 3rd transmission, you become the work. And a lot of practitioners say, I actually don't need the manual, Nicolas. It's just coming through me. Okay. So it's taken us, how long has it taken us? It's taken us nearly 25 years to actually work out how to transmit and teach this. So it does that through trial and error. So we support you even afterwards. We have a very active Facebook group with all the practitioners around the world. We have master classes, so you can continue to evolve the use of this as part of your practice, and however you want to use this. And this is what happens to people who you work with. People get a deep sense of peace. Like I had this deep sense of peace, and Frank gave me my reading because I'd heard the truth. And it was actually a relief, because I felt that actually there's some meaning to this crazy life I've got. It's not just some bad cosmic accident. And it enabled me, because I did feel like a victim at that stage of my life. I was about 30 then, to take charge of my life and come into my power and make a difference here on earth. That's the reason we published the book, to make a difference, trying to reach a lot of people, because many light workers are sent to awaken people on earth, but only so many wake up, because we get trapped in the illusions of the ego. And the idea is to bring consciousness and burn through all those illusions to get to the truth of who someone is, and bring that truth out, actualize it into the world. And show people that, yes, there is a map of their life. In the book and the work, we go deep into the recommendations on how you can actually manifest this the soul life purpose that's contained within the spiritual map. And in working with people, it builds a very deep, trusting connection with them, and people will go to places they would never normally go to, because the truth, because it's at a very high level of consciousness, just cuts through all the ego defenses and enables you to really go deep with somebody. Because when the truth is revealed, the ego can no longer resist, because it's spent its whole life trying to stop people getting to the truth, and suddenly you just explained it all in an hour, and layers of its defense mechanisms just dissolve here. So we spend 3 days going through all 22 numbers, okay, in terms of your friends and family, on how that works. Then we spend the last 2 days giving and preparing readings. And while that may sound daunting, if you've read the book thinking, my God, there's a lot of information there. There's 85,000 words, that book. And the manual's a little bigger, because there's some extra stuff we don't put in the book, which can't be in the public domain. You will find, because of the transmission, you'll be able to give pretty good readings straight out of the box, and you'll surprise yourself when you realize I am becoming the work. And if you practice properly in the first month, at least, after the workshop, and deliver readings to people, then what happens is it embeds the energy. And this work is more about transmission of the higher consciousness of this work. It's not about trying to read the manual or read the book and memorize it, or it doesn't work. It's about just doing it. And then people find it becomes permanently embedded in them. So yeah, you've got to study and practice with this. Okay, any questions so far? That's quite a mouthful, but I thought I'd just explain what this stuff really is. It's a completely different thing than just reading the book here. Any questions on the chat? Maya, you said if a chart says you're here to be a spiritual teacher, is that to be taken literally? Maya, the chart is potential, latent potential that's laid out by the soul. It doesn't know what's going to happen. It's up to you at a conscious level to work out what you're going to do with that. Okay, and so that's the free will choice we have on Earth. I could have decided to stay small and quiet and feeling bad about myself. I decided I wanted to make a difference here. So if this chart says to be a spiritual teacher, there's a wide range of choice on how you interpret that and how you actually actualize that out in the world. So it's up to you what you want to do with that, and if that's actually what you've got. So it's not like you're being forced to do anything. You've just been invited. The soul's saying, here's some energy potential of what you could become. Now you can take that, and if you stay aligned with that, the energy will carry you through life and produce some amazing things, but the very nature of it will depend on you. Okay, so there's always a choice in each moment what to do. Okay, and he says, does it have to be spiritual teaching or conventional teaching? Depends on where it is in the chart, Maya, and depends on your background. Often if you're meant to be a teacher, you'll start off with some form of teaching. I learned to teach by teaching English as a second language in Japan, but then I translated those skills to actually teaching spiritual content. when I came to England. Okay, so it's entirely up to you. It's not that you have to do anything actually. It's about what opens your heart, Maya. What gives you passion? Most people are in jobs where they have no emotional connection to it. It's actually 87% of people in the Western world are disconnected from the work they do. It's a Gallup poll. So if you allow for the margin of error, that's pretty much most people, which is a pretty unhappy state of affairs. What this work does is the opposite of that. It gets you in contact with what you are passionate about. When people are connected to their passion, the life force flows, the energy flows, life becomes more fulfilling. So it's whatever makes your heart sing, what opens your heart. And it's clear, it can be seen in the contract, but actually it's open, there's plenty of room for interpretation of how that's actually going to come out in the world. Okay. And when you align with that potential, you've got a much better chance of having a more fulfilling life and leaving behind a lot of the often horrors of the karmic patterns we come with initially. So there's a way forward to a better life. So Maya said, I'm setting up a healthcare teaching program which I've been successful at before. Okay, sounds good. So if it makes your heart sing, Maya, then you're in the right place. Okay. So any other questions, Amanda or Lavinia or anyone else? Or Jen, you were brave enough to talk before. No? Okay. More comments? All right. So how can you go about doing this? So we have here, due to popular requests, I've made it's a 5-day workshop, the Soul Contract Reading Training Level 1. It used to be 5 consecutive days, but I had a lot of North American clients say, look, Nicolas, the holidays aren't great here in America. Can you do it on the weekend? So I said, okay, we'll try that. So the next one runs this February, 22nd to 24th. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then 2 weeks later, 9th and 10th of March. We can't really split into 3, otherwise we lose the momentum. And there's not enough room in my schedule to teach. But we'll be teaching that on Zoom, like we are here. And it'll be 12:30 to 8:30 UK time, 7:30 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, then down to 4:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. It's a little early for Californians, but it beats flying to England. And the reason for that is I can only teach to 8:30, but also Europeans, they will go from 1:30 to 9:30. So we try and cover from California to Russia, basically, and that's where the majority of people are who come on this training. And it runs for actually about 6 contact hours in that time, and we teach about 1.5 hour slots, 4 1.5 hour slots with 2 20-minute breaks and a meal break. And so that's where you will receive the transmission. You can do it from home or wherever you are, as long as you've got a good internet connection. And so it's pretty straightforward, really, and you get we send you the PDFs of all the manuals and the presentations, and we record everything like we're doing now, so you get access to all the videos, so you can watch it again later to get the transmission again. We have a secret Facebook group for each class, so which enables you to form a community with your classmates, where all the information we talk about on the course, extra information is posted. We have a broad global secret Facebook community for all the practitioners. There's hundreds of them, where you join a community with lots of peer-to-peer support. So when you start, you're not by yourself. You just ask questions, and some very experienced practitioners will help you. They'll get you up and running to get this work out there, and you can see what they're doing. And you can ask any question you like on that group about the work, and someone will answer it. And if they don't answer it, I will at some stage when I get to it. So if you're drawn to this, you can reserve a place here. Just go to soulcontractreadingtraining.com, and the deposit is about a third of the price. It's £229 or about $300 US. Might be a little cheaper for the Americans and Canadians because Brexit, the exchange rate is in your favour. And the full price is £616 or about $820 US. But most people go off and give readings after this, so it doesn't take long to pay the course off. Okay, you were to give readings at £100 a shot or $150 a shot, you've paid it off in 5 or 6 readings, it's done. And then you have a tool that you can use permanently. And because of Zoom and Skype, which is how most practitioners work, you can reach anyone in the English-speaking world. Okay, so you have a very valuable tool for reaching people, but also just in general for your clients. Okay, so look, any other questions? No more questions. Okay, so it'd be good to see you guys on it, and if you have any questions about that, just ask me on the chat or switch on the mic. All right, and we'll talk about it a bit more. Any other questions, anyone? Amanda, Lavinia? Let's have a look here. No one coming up here.
I don't have a question in particular. I just wanted to say thank you for the work that you're sharing. I mean, when I got the book, I can't even remember how I found your book, but it was possibly through a Gaia review you've done.
Yeah, there's four shows on Gaia, actually 5 shows on Gaia.
Yeah. So, I mean, what you said about spiritual seekers being 2 to 3% of the population, that people are being drawn to help people awaken. I mean, that kind of just instantly, when I heard you speak, it kind of instantly was a knowing for me to come seek this out. So, yeah, whatever you're putting out there is working.
Yeah,
so, thank
good
you.
to hear that, Amanda. Yeah. So if you want to see some more shows about this, go to Gaia.com. Gaia's based in Colorado. It's the biggest spiritual streaming channel in the world. Just search for my name. We've got 4 shows on this work about birth chart readings, which is just what we did with Lavinia. Relationships, raising conscious children, and on walk-ins, which is about souls there's been a change of soul through the lifetime to enhance the consciousness of the individual. There's a 5th show on using this work in business, but they haven't released that yet. We want to go deeper into this. Okay, no more comments. All right, so I want to thank you all for coming and giving your precious time, and everyone's even busier these days, and I will send you the video later, the link, once we've loaded it on YouTube. And any questions, just email me at Nicolas direct3 at Centre for Conscious Ascension, which you would have seen from the joining email instructions. You can get hold of me that way. So don't hesitate if you want to know anything else. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, Jen's just said thank you. So is Maya. Thank you, guys. All right. Take care.